Hello, beautifuls. Welcome back to my Chanel, and welcome to another episode of this Unhinged TikTok makeup fails video. What is this? Episode 7?
Well, yes.
Hello, my lovelies. How are you doing? It's been a couple of weeks since we've done one of these. You guys absolutely love this series, and I also love to share my expertise in this series as well. So, my lovelies, if you haven't seen me before, my name is Luxeria. I have been a makeup artist for 16 years. And I also have a biochemistry degree because I have a profound interest in the way things work. Specifically under this sort of thing, formulation, and why a product may or may not be ideal for the reason that someone is having the fail, or why a hack might not work. Cancelled! Already in these videos, we've seen like a handful of absolute chaotic nonsense. We've seen, what have we seen? We've seen scrape the eyebrows off. We've seen underpainting, who, whence, when, or why-mst. And we've also seen, help, my eyelid is glued shut. Which, you know, only really ends up in one way, doesn't it? A trip to the hospital, which isn't fun for anyone. Nobody plans that day to be like, oh my God, you know what I really want to do? Sit in A&E for 8 hours. Bimbo! Anyway, my loves, I'm in a very odd mood today in the studio here. Oh, yes.
She's dead.
So, my lovelies, make sure you grab yourself a beverage. Today, I am on the Pepsi Max, drunk from the skull of my enemies, because what? Classy. Make sure you pop your hanger right into your little TikTok hole. And if you want to tag me in any unhinged makeup videos that you see over on TikTok, it is xxluxeria over there. So yes, my loves. Are you ready? Should we watch this? I don't know what to expect in any of these videos that we come across, so be prepared for some grotesqueness, be prepared to be spooked, be prepared, well, for a little bit of anything, really.
Pick up your Amazon Prime stick, honey, and click play.
Oh God, right, okay. Makeup and eye infections. Oh, is this gonna be disgusting, girls?
Makeup and eye infections.
Right.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's.
So, this is me a week and a half ago. Yep. You can see how pretty my eyes look like. This is an eye infection. Yeah, beautiful, right? It was itchy, it was red, it was painful. I had the pus
it looks
coming
so
out.
gooey.
And honestly, I got antibiotic drops, I got tear watering drops, all that
What
stuff.
happened?
And since then, I haven't worn any makeup, no creams, nothing, because, you know, I don't want to contaminate anything.
Yes.
But one thing I want to mention about makeup. Makeup can cause eye infections.
Yes.
Specifically, mascara.
Yes.
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 There's expiration on it. This one says, you can see 6M, 6 months. Guess what? 3 months. 3 months. Toss that thing. Don't use it. They harbor bacteria. This is moist. Also, another thing is pencil liners.
Yes.
Yep. So sharpen them. Don't use them if they're expired. Save your eyes.
Oh my goodness, yes, this lady. Thank you, lady. No, my goodness me, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But this is something I am perpetually shocked about. So I have a series here on the Chanel that I do occasionally, which is reacting to the worst reviewed makeup artist in X city or something like that. Quite often, the level of hygiene and sanitization is 0. In fact, it's less than 0. Quite often, it's worse.
Wow. Scandalous.
One of the things that I always try and instill in like upcoming makeup artists or even people that just want to get better at makeup in their own home, make sure you keep your station sanitary, keep your products sanitized, keep a hand sanitizer nearby, keep sanitization spray nearby. Try and keep things as clean as possible, because these are the things that are going like inside your face and inside your eyes, inside your mouth, and you just don't want them to cause problems. That eye infection looked particularly bad, and I'm genuinely shocked that that came from something like a mascara. That looked like a pretty serious infection. It did not look fun to have, did not look nice in any way, shape, or form. No. Generally, when we talk about formulations of products, when something has like a 6M or a 12M, and it's got a little icon of something being like undone, I'll try and put a picture in so you can see what I'm talking about. That means from the date that you open it, after that number has been reached and gone past, the product cannot guarantee that the preservatives are working against mold and against spores, against bacteria, against fungus growth, any of that. So please do yourself a favor. I know it's always a bit like,
Oh no, what's gonna happen next? I really like this specific thing from 4 years ago.
and it's like, okay, you can keep it if it's nice and it looks cute and it's wonderful and blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's an exclusive part of a collection. Just don't use it. Don't use it. The amount of things that actually like touch our face and then go onto our makeup. Pressed powder is one of these things. Sponges. Sponges are literally just like sponges. That's what they do. They go,
Oh, delicious. Is this eggs of a bacterium I spy?
bacterium don't actually have eggs, but there we go.
Oh, bacterial eggs. Just what I need to grow into this disgusting blob. Hopefully I find an eye to go in soon.
How vile.
Bacteria do not care. Bacteria just love to thrive on something that's wet with lots of food. And what does that sound like? An eyeball, perhaps? Mmm, delicious. No.
No.
If you want to know how to sanitize things, let's talk about it. So you've got eye pencils here, which were mentioned. Dip it in rubbing alcohol for 5 seconds, take it out, dab off the excess, sharpen it, dip it in rubbing alcohol again, wait for it to dry. How do you sanitize a mascara? Well, you can't really sanitize a liquid. I mean, you can if you're if you have like a laboratory, but like most of you guys aren't gonna have a laboratory in your home, are you? Don't ask me.
Deranged.
If you're worried about eye makeup infections, use the makeup artist way of dealing with mascara, which is you scrape it out onto a sanitized palette or surface, and then you apply that mascara with a disposable wand, and you never re-dip it back into the packaging, because that's how they love to thrive, all those nasties, so let's not do any of that. Right, what's the next one, girls? Right, so what are we doing? Microbiology. Oh, we're testing bacterial growth. What is this song? Oh, what is that? What is that? Oh my god, this person's got loads of these. Oh my god, we're gonna have to watch a few of these. What is that? Okay, so we've got some interesting individual little colonies of grossness. We've got a little bit of like fine hair mold. Is that cotton spore? Is that what it's called? Cotton something. Grows on rice quite often. Oh, we've got some black mold. You don't want any black mold on the lungs. No. All of this from a used makeup sponge. Also, what was that song? Should we listen again? What is that? Is that Mozart, but like Screamo? Call of Duty. Resident Evil. I can't believe that's after 2 days. I fucking love a Petri dish.
Ew, Michelle.
I want to look at a couple of other ones of these, because these are insane. Try a cotton pad. Try the cotton pads. Oh my, is this Cupcake? What is this song? Am I having a fever dream? Oh, she's a clean woman. This... What is this? Sensory overload, my love. Sensory overload. Okay, so let's talk again about some sanitization, shall we? Don't always assume when you go to a counter or when you go to like a makeup place that it's always going to be 100% clean. It should be, and be prepared to like mention something if it's not, but sometimes it isn't. But do you know what? Sometimes I'm very glad that it actually is. So here, she has swabbed some cotton pads from a disposable counter. Did we see what counter it was? What is that? I can't quite see what that is. It looks like it's in a Sephora, perhaps? It looks a bit drugstore, a bit like a gondola in a drugstore.
Well, yes.
I am absolutely fascinated to know that those cotton pads don't have anything growing on them. That is excellent. I'm sure if you were to repeat this somewhere else, you might find bacterial growth on those cotton pads. I always think if you're going out shopping for makeup or anything like this, always hand sanitizer between you picking up and putting things down, and never put something on your face or your skin without asking someone to sanitize it first. I know this is kind of difficult because quite a lot of these places aren't manned. Depends if you're doing a tester, like testers on the back of your hand, absolutely fine. Do not. Okay, so I used to work for a leading cosmetics brand. The amount of like shocking stories I can tell you about just like the way that the public is just so trusting and like do whatever they want. So do not see a line of lipsticks out there to test and just go, oh my God, oh look at this, I'll put it on here, put it out my hole. Hello! Never do that. The amount of people that I saw who would just literally stuff something straight on their lips from the countertop and be like, not give me a second to actually be able to interject, be like, let me sanitize that so you can actually try it. Don't do that. It is so gross. If you look away for a split second and 3 people have done that in a row, you don't know what they've got on their lips. You don't know if they've eaten anything. You don't like, it's very that meme of like, don't always trust cooking in other people's houses. Don't always trust the lipstick testers at a counter in your mall. Don't do it. It's not worth potentially having an infection like the lady beforehand, even though that seemed like it was her mascara. I really want to watch another one of these. I want to see something really gross. Come on, what's next? Ooh. Okay, eyeshadow applicator. Okay. Oh, very colourful. Okay, right, I can't bear this song any longer. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And that was on an eyeshadow applicator, so that potentially could go into your eyeball. So, someone here in the comments has said something very interesting. They're called thick garbage. And they say, "Hi, this is misleading. I study and teach biology as a part of my doctorate. These are very common and harmless colonies of bacteria and fungi." So, that is true. That is absolutely true. Not every type of colony of bacteria is bad. In fact, if you look at our gut microbiome, we have millions and billions of different types of bacteria that lives in our system. In fact, it lives on our body at all times of the day or night. If you have let's say, a disorder that might reduce your immune system, that's when things can start to happen. And of course, sometimes, you know, there's always anomalies. Sometimes there's just a bacteria in the right place at the right time, and that can cause problems. But I will say, although sometimes perhaps they are harmless, it's just safe to make sure that you are sanitary. Right, let's take a step away from cupcake and the sound of blowjob, shall we? Not the glizzy man.
No.
Oh my goodness me, right, what's this? Okay, it's called Bake, Set and Glam or something like that. Bake, Set and Glam. Right, let's have a look. What's this? Oh, thank goodness, we're not doing anything about infections. It's been very infection heavy already today.
Apply on your concealer, blend it out like normal, set it with the lightest amount of powder, just enough to set it into place and to get it mattified.
Yes.
And then go in with the baking technique.
Interesting.
What you gotta remember is this: blend, set, bake. Blend, set, bake. Blend.
Okay, right, well, let's have a little look at the end there, shall we? So stop! She looks absolutely gorgina here. I will say, all of these apps, Instagram Reels, TikTok, actually YouTube doesn't even do this. YouTube Shorts doesn't do this. The quality of the upload always gets a bit distorted when it's uploaded to these platforms. So for some reason, people's skin always looks just gorgeous when you have makeup on in these videos. And I think sometimes that can be a bit misleading. We as consumers, and we as makeup professionals as well, need to teach people to have realistic expectations as to why, you know, I can see her skin here is a bit blurred underneath the eyes, so it's not gonna quite look like that in real life. Even my skin on my cameras is never going to quite look exactly the same as it does in real life. That's just a fact of technology. What we heard here, I think the voiceover here is it Spencer, painted by Spencer, painting with Spencer? I'm sure I've heard his voice before. What they say is when you've applied your concealer and you've blended it out. Now, I always say don't use a lot of concealer. You need to use a less amount of concealer than you think you do. You might just need to use a better quality concealer. Set that area with powder before you go in and set the whole face. Baking is a little bit of a... what's the word? It's a little bit... is it controversial? Is that the word? Controversial yet brave. It's not controversial. That's not what I'm looking for. What word am I looking for? It's like debated in the makeup artist community. I am a fan of baking if I'm doing makeup that requires it. And of course, the point of being a makeup artist is then you know the context in which you might need it. So for example, today I was using a palette that has a lot of fallout and a little bit of kickback, but I really like the color payoff that it gives. So I do a little bit of baking. However, if you are this way inclined, you could do your eye makeup on top of an eye makeup base before you apply the rest of your skin. Some people love doing that, some people don't. I don't really like working in that way. When you need to set the underside of your eye, don't go in with your massive powder brush that you're going to go in with everything else, or your huge powder poof and do all this, you know, like, what's it called? Like baked like a chicken, like dusted like a Cornish hen. Don't do any of all that. Go in with an eyeshadow blending brush, something small but fluffy that can easily fit in this area. Pop it onto your pressed powder or your loose powder, whatever it is that you need. Tap off a little bit of the excess and gently dab it underneath the eye, blending out these little areas. Give it a couple of seconds, you know, just to let it do its thing, and then go in with your powder all over your face. That will give you a much more of a softer, much more well-finished area underneath the eye, but don't use too much powder. If you do, you can end up with like crinkly crepe paper under eyes. And nobody wants that, do they? No.
You don't know me!
So actually a very useful technique that I still to this day, well, I haven't done wedding makeup for ages, but it's something that I used to do quite often when doing a wedding makeup, because it actually gives that long-lasting effect and it can look really beautiful in camera. Right, what's next? What's next? Oh, it is. Yeah, look. Yeah, look. It is who I thought it was. Look, we've got Painted by Spencer. Oh, I do love Painted by Spencer. He does look a little bit wacky. Definitely a fan of the Juvederm, but very good with makeup. So let's hear what Spencer has to say today.
Here's an easy trick to make your eye
the
makeup
way he
look like
films,
it's a bit more
gorgeous.
polished and
Right,
professional.
I want some polished eye
love recommending
makeup.
this to my clients and friends because you don't have to go out
Oh, I
and
love
buy
that focal
anything.
length.
Chances are you already have what you need, and it only
Yes.
takes a couple seconds.
couple
You're gonna
of
grab
seconds,
yourself
you
a
say?
flat-ended brow brush
Right.
along with an eyeshadow that's quite a few shades lighter than your natural skin tone.
Right.
And what you're gonna do is you're gonna stamp it right below your winged eyeliner.
Right.
lashes, pressing it on and slowly diffusing it out. So
Yes.
you'll notice I'm taking that lower lash line and following it straight outwards. I really
Yes.
like doing this because it lifts the cheekbone and highlights it, but also cleans up the eye makeup. And what I
Okay.
do is, I mean, you can use a blending brush, but I just take my finger to soften out those edges.
like
And
a
that's
bit of
all
a
there is
blur.
to it. Try it out, and I hope you like it.
Okay, Spencer. Okay, so I love this technique. I don't know if I would agree with necessarily using an eyeshadow that's quite that light, because I still feel like it needs to be in the same color story as the rest of your skin, but I do this all the time. I don't really do it with eyeshadow, so if you look at my eye makeup today, you'll notice I have a golden line underneath my winged eyeliner. That's because today I didn't want to spend too long finessing my liner by hand. I just wanted to put it on, get it done, make it symmetrical, and go. The way that I do that is I applied a gold liquid liner from the edge of my underside of my eye to just tidy up the wing that I did in black. My actual favorite product that I use for this, and it comes in a range of colors actually, is the Kiko Milano Cosmetics liquid liners, and they come in like whites, blue, gold, silver, like they come in a gorgeous array of tones, and that's what I use if I want a little bit more of a subtle effect. I know, gold eyeliner, subtle, hoomst. I wish they did some like skin tone colors. If you really love this trick and you really want to finesse it perfectly for you, get your concealer and a very fine liner tip brush and just do a light line underneath your liner, and it will instantly sharpen and snatch everything up and out the most gorgeous way. As I said multiple times on this Chanel, it is easier to correct a line than it is to like make it bigger, try and balance it out, make it bigger again, try and balance it out again, make it bigger, and you end up with just like panda eyes. No. You can also do this trick, I do this quite often on the Chanel, you've probably seen it, is I use glitter liner going out from underneath. So my eyeliner is even more emphasized because it's got like a glitter strike underneath it, and it's very eye-catching, and I get lots of compliments on it. And you can also match that glitter to the inner corner if you want that real foxy snatched effect. I do absolutely adore Painted by Spencer. I wish I knew him in real life because he's so soft and lovely. Right, what's next? Who do we have next, girls? What's this? Who is that?
Tell me why I had the girl at
Tell me why.
Sephora color match my face,
Oh.
and this is what she gave me.
Oh, I thought she was getting ready for like a costume or something. Oh no! Right, wait, what? So she's been to Sephora, she's gone up to the counters and gone, excuse me, lady, excuse me, lady, can you help me? I do not know the Sade. What's the Sade? Tell me the Sade. And they've gone, do you know what?
Die.
Your shade is PS5 controller white. Obviously incorrect. Now, unfortunately, I don't know where she went to. I guess she just went to Sephora. I think in Sephora it's a little bit different to what we have in the UK, which is mainly in the UK we have like different people, like different makeup artists working at different counters that can or should be well trained enough to be able to shade match you with their products. I don't know how it works in America in Sephora, but I have heard that like you just go in and you find one person that sort of knows all brands, which sounds wild to me because I don't think you could ever know everything about all brands ever. How would you? Impossible. I learn one thing, another thing falls out.
Bimbo!
The tips and tricks to shade matching accurately. First of all, look at the undertones. Do they have blue appearing veins or do they have green appearing veins? And that's how you can tell if someone is cool tone skin or warm tone skin. And then if they have any variation between that, maybe it's slightly purple, maybe it's like a darker sort of like grey green, that potentially means that they have more of a neutral undertone. Once you've got that worked out, the way that I used to do this is get a little makeup palette and get several swatches out of different foundation shades. Put all of the dots in a little line, get yourself a disposable tissue, print it down, and drag it across the neck and the jaw. Wait for a couple of seconds, maybe do a little bit of blending if there's a little bit too much with your finger, and just wait. Wait and see. Be like, oh, as the colour changes over the next 60 seconds, 2 minutes or so, which one's gonna fit the best? have a little look-see in the mirror. And if you're the consumer, you can actually say, oh my goodness, I'm just going to go and look at this outside in natural daylight. Because do you know what? In-store lighting, that fluorescent green and somehow also orange at the same time lighting, is not accurate to what you will look outside, under different lighting, under flash, or any other different types of lighting. And I think that is exactly what's happened here.
Cancelled!
Clearly, the person at Sephora has gone, oh my goodness, I'm going to put this light color on. Maybe they had like slightly orange-looking lights in wherever it was, whichever store it was. And of course, that would cast an orange shadow, so you don't want to go too dark, because then you would end up looking much deeper toned than you are. She's left, gone home, had a look around, and gone, oh, Casper the Friendly. So basically what I'm trying to say is, as a consumer, you're allowed to be like, okay, can I just look at this outside just to make sure that it is the right tone? And at least then you've got something that works. One of the hardest parts about finding makeup that works is actually knowing what it is that you need. And I feel like one of the easiest ways to learn what it is that you need is by learning what you don't need and what you don't want. If a foundation is too dark, obviously you don't want that. If a foundation is too light or too green, obviously you don't want any of those. And these little things help you eventually come to an option that works for you.
Oh, that's nice.
A woman is on the go, she's on the game, and she's on the go. Oh, more bacterium. What's this? Haven't used my beauty blender in a few weeks. This is mold. Well, oh, that is vulgar, isn't it? What is... That is really quite repulsive. Looks like a dinosaur egg. I don't know what this song is. Get that bread? I don't think so.
An idiot sandwich.
Sponges, beauty sponges, all of this stuff. You need to wash them. I know. Isn't it awful that we have to wash our tools? You need to. And when it comes to something like sponges, you need to just throw them away. You need to be like, do you know what? I've had this one for too long. Goodbye, girls. That for me, if I'm using it on myself, is when the staining becomes too much to cope with. Even if just looking at it, I'm like, But you can do many different tests. You can sniff. Does it smell a little bit musky? Does it smell a little bit like, should have been washed several times ago? Maybe it's time to throw it out. When you are a makeup artist working on a client, I love to provide a sponge within my cost. When I used to do freelance makeup artistry, I would provide a sponge within my cost. So nobody else is ever going to use that sponge. That is their sponge. They can take it with them. That's their sponge. I don't know though if this is mold. I mean, it doesn't look good, does it? Whatever it is, it doesn't look good. I have a feeling it's just like slightly absorbed moisture from the air and actually just kind of like become a little bit bobular and a little bit odd. Either way, I don't think that this is good. I don't think this is good. And she needs to go. She needs to be laid to rest. We have to say the ritual. What do we say in the ritual?
She's dead.
Goodbye, fair sponge. Next up in the pageant is you're overlining your lips the wrong way. Are we?
If you're lining your lips like this, please seek immediate help. Stop it right now.
Goodness me, call an ambulance.
Overline your lips without looking like this.
Okay.
When you're overlining your lips, you leave these lines alone. You want to find the tip of your cupid bow. Draw one line and another. I like more of a rounded cupid bow, so I connect them in the
straight
center.
Across.
Then very lightly, you want to connect this line down there. Don't overline. You should have something like this. If you want to overline, you can always make the cupid bow area a little bit thicker.
Yes.
And for the bottom lip, you only want to overline this center right here.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Focus on overlining the center. Don't overline any of these edges.
Yes.
And you're all done. It's so easy.
Oh, T, absolutely, completely agree. Couldn't have said it better myself, lady. So, when it comes to overlining your lips, you have to kind of ask yourself the question of, like, what's the outcome that you want? Why are you overlining your lips? What sort of effect are you trying to achieve by using this technique? Most of the time, it is that you want to achieve that thick, almost lip filler, kind of like sexy pout look. And exactly what she said here is correct. Concentrate that on the center, because that's where you create a pout. Pouts are created in the center of the lip, not at the edges. You do run the risk of starting to look a bit sausage lip filler if you overline the outside of your lips. Now, There is room to move. With any of these techniques, there is always room to move. I haven't actually lined my lips today, but I've used my liquid lipstick in a way that accentuates the roundness of my lips rather than the sharpness. This works so much better with matte products as well. You don't usually get the same sort of effect if you're going for something metallic or vibrantly shiny. Straight over the Cupid's bow creates that like, kind of look, and that's kind of what you want if you're going to go for the overlining effect. You can round out the top of your Cupid's bow a little bit and then pull the line down as a rounded motion if you want to soften that Cupid's bow and create that more... I can't for a split second think of anyone with these lips that I'm thinking of, but it's like a flatter Cupid's bow, more rounded looking lip, which is very sort of like adult sex doll kind of vibes.
Today's word of the day is bukkake. Bukkake.
And then when it comes to the bottom lip, if you overline down here, you end up giving yourself marionette lines, so just keep it rounded. Quite often, you can use other techniques alongside this to make your lips look even bigger, such as adding a little bit of shadow here, and then right above the Cupid's bow, adding a little tiny bit of highlight just to make everything seem even bigger again. But the thing about overlining your lips is, don't do it too much, because if you go over and you're not like a drag queen or doing it for performance or anything like that, it's really obvious in real life. And sometimes I've seen people and I've just been thinking, all I can think of is your top lip. Why does your top lip do this? Why have you applied your top lip this way? They could be talking to me about anything and I'm like, top lip. So yes, be wary, be mindful, start slow, round the top, and continue to grow. There you go. Excellent techniques. Oh my God, nothing about infection. Love it.
Don't do this.
Don't do it, girl.
Adding dark, thick
Right,
lines
eyebrows.
makes it
Let's
hard
do
to
some
blend out.
eyebrows. Okay, adding some thick lines, thick definition. That's a huge arch.
Stonehenge.
The
I'm not a
brows
fan of a
look wonky.
huge arch
Do
personally.
this instead.
Right, okay,
Start
what's
with a
this?
brow pencil and add
Soft lines.
Then add pomade to the end.
Pomade.
Clean up with a tiny bit of concealer. See the difference? That's much better.
Okay, let's pause it there. Yes. Okay, yes. I see where she's going with this, and I understand, because that's exactly kind of the vibe that I go for. I do think when people say, like, don't do this, do this, I do feel like there needs to be maybe an asterisk sometimes, because sometimes people don't have the same sort of eyebrow as you to be able to get away with that sort of vibe. So I will say, I don't think this style of eyebrow looks particularly great on anyone outside of the theatre. And the theatre could be stage production, drag, I don't know, makeup enthusiasts, cosplay, any of that. I feel like harsh edges around the eyebrow actually pulls attention to it. And if you want that, that's fine. But I think quite a lot of people just want to reshape the brow or maybe tidy up the brow. I have to do something between these two eyebrow styles. So I don't have any eyebrow hair beyond about here. All of this is fake. So I use a pencil to do that. And I actually start by underlining the whole thing underneath and flattening my eyebrow out a little bit so it has less of an arch but more of an uplift. At the beginning of my brow, I will do little like feather strokes, and I think that's very, very flattering because it softens this area here. If you have harsh lines here, it can start to make your nose contour look weird and then make your nose look strange, and then sometimes can even make your lips look weird because everything here is so sharp. A way around creating that sharpness, if you want to soften it, is to take your beauty sponge or your foundation brush or your concealer brush, lightly dab over the eyebrow once you've finished it at the center, and it will just soften up this area completely. I'm not a fan of putting concealer above the eyebrow, but I do like a little bit underneath the tail just to soften everything and tidy it up to a point. Absolutely love that. So I think, actually, certain people, certain eyebrow types, if you don't have any eyebrow hair, you're going to have to go with something a little bit more bolder. But I do also really like a fine, feathery hair stroke look. But I do also think that if you're going to wear heavy eye makeup, a soft little pussy willow, soft little eyebrow is not necessarily going to give the same effect as something with a little bit more definition and structure. Eyebrows. Who wants them? Nobody. Oh, very MySpace 2008.
This house is clean.
Do your under eyes crease all the time?
Do your
Well, let me
under
show you
eyes
how to go from
crease?
this to this. Buttery
this to
smooth
this?
and lasts all day.
Buttery.
concealer. If you do less, it is easier to work with, but I like to do mine all under my eye.
Oh,
just
that's
to
a
make
lot
sure
of
it's really
concealer.
even. Now let your concealer set for like 30 seconds
Okay.
and then blend it out.
Next
Yeah.
step is really crucial. You're gonna want one of these powder puffs and take your powder. This is a Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and tap into the powder with your sponge. Notice how on your sponge
That's a lot of powder.
Even take the back of your hand
Oh, okay.
and you're gonna smooth it out more like that.
All right, so you're working it into the brush, into the
Stretch
sponge.
your face so your under eye is flat. Just before you set, make sure you blend out any creases that came up. When you
Yep.
set, really press into the crease.
And there you have it. You're gonna have under eyes that last you all day.
Okay. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes, and also no.
I think still that that's a bit too much powder. My personal opinion, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
She's educated.
The only thing that's conservative about me is the amount of powder I use under my eyes. For me, I always try and err on the side of caution. Using too much powder can easily dry out the skin, make it look a bit weird. You end up introducing like unwanted texture and all sorts. There is a balance between like trying to get something to last all day by setting it completely to cement and also trying to make it livable and wearable and flexible because it's in an area that needs to move. What I do love that she said here is that after applying your concealer, let it sit for 30 seconds. That is probably the most crucial point to this. When I was working on counter and I had to like sell or demonstrate a concealer, the amount of people that would just put that concealer on, immediately wipe it away and be like,
It's not worked.
I'm like, yes, because we need to wait for it to actually do something. So when you load up an area with concealer, let it sit. Let it sit for 30 seconds and then gently blend it out. What you've done then is you've allowed the product to kind of get a bit dry in the sense, and you've allowed that coverage to develop, and then you're only blending away the top layers just to make it really seamless with the rest of your face. Setting that concealer is so important if you want something to look nice all day. I don't think you need to use one of those special like triangle shaped brushes and really like press it into the under eye. I think a light coating underneath the eye with an eyeshadow brush of your powder, your favorite powder, is the tea. I honestly feel like you're gonna have much better results with that.
Oh, I could never take that long to do my makeup. I just do my makeup in 10 minutes and I go. I know, Karen. I know.
Oh.
I can tell.
Oh, that's nice. I will say, there is a lot of like makeup bullying. There is a sort of like unspoken weirdness when it comes to be like, don't wear too much or people will judge you, but also you should be amazingly good at it as soon as you start, otherwise people will judge you. And it's one of these things, when I used to work in counters, the amount of people that would be like, I have this beautiful palette that I bought from you guys and I just don't know how to use it. That is what makeup artists are there for. They're not just there for your like big special wedding day. They're not just there for like, oh my God, I'm going to prom, I need makeup. They're also there for like advice. If you want to just like hire a makeup artist and be like, do you know what? I just want to learn a little bit more about what works for my skin, what works for my face, eye shapes that I really like. You can hire a makeup artist to do that as well. That part of the industry has kind of changed a lot with the advent of social media because now people are a lot more confident with themselves. But there's still a big portion of society that just wants to get a bit better at doing makeup and do not feel like pressured or weird for wanting to ask for help when it comes to something like this. So this situation I've had happen to me multiple times. It's someone that like really drives home that they've never worn anything in their life. They never ever would wear makeup. Makeup's disgusting, never would. Judging other people for wearing makeup. And I don't get where that judgment comes from because like, I don't care at all if someone doesn't wear makeup. So why would you care that I am wearing makeup? Do you know what I mean? There's this odd dichotomy. Is that the word? I think that might be the word. Odd dichotomy that sometimes happens when it comes to enjoying cosmetics. The same sort of thing occasionally will happen if I get like a procedure done and someone will be like,
well, I've never had to get Botox in my life. I'm going to grow old gracefully.
It's like, okay, Sandra, that's wonderful for you. I am going to look like this until I'm 80. Thank you, bye. So, my lovelies, what an addition that was. We saw a lot more infection and bacteria than I assumed we were going to see. I didn't wake up today and be like, do you know what? Petri dishes full of eyeshadow applicator gloop. But I'm very glad that it meant that we could have a lovely discussion about sanitization and why it is important to sanitize. I do also want to add on that 70% alcohol, I think most of the world call it isopropyl alcohol. It's the same sort of alcohol that you'll find in, or the same levels of alcohol that you'll find in hand sanitizers. 70% is the most effective at sanitizing products, hands, killing bacteria. The reason why this is because higher than that, bacteria can actually prevent themselves from taking it up. The reason why bacteria take in this isopropyl alcohol into the cell and then it disrupts them is because of the water content. They go to pull the water across and it comes with alcohol and they're just like, bleh.
I'm melting! I'm melting!
And that's what we want. We don't want any bacteria here, no. And with that, my lovelies, it's time for the Patreons. You can see yourself scrolling past on the screen right here, my lovelies. Yes, you can. Thank you guys so much for joining and supporting the Chanel. If you'd like to provide a little bit of extra help here to the growth and maintenance here on the Chanel, click the link in the description box below because my Patreons get access to certain little special things like outtakes and an upcoming podcast. And as always, I want to say a massive thank you to my top tier Patreons. Orcos Emoji, Beebles32, Shell Herman, Christy Crownover, Christina Kyle, ContraPoints, Danielle, Elizabeth Stone, Emily Worsham, Eric Castillo, Finn Dunham, Jen Martin, Caitlin Wright, Larry Lane, Laura Jane, Les Banana, Lizette Cares, Min Mintier, Mariah Sherman, Ms. Kiss, Novembrix, Paolo Rivera, Rubix.co, Ryan Vita, Slampire Queen, Steffutech, The Chaos Collective, Vicky Walsh, Victoria Corella, and Zoe Sevier. And you know what, my lovelies? I'm gonna leave it on the note of, if you want to wear makeup, just wear some makeup. It's that easy. Just make sure it's clean. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Yes.